Hi, Eric. I'm super excited to have you with us in our program. And today you're going to share with us some of your expertise and some of your know-hows within marketing. And you have worked within several startups and scale-ups, but also been an entrepreneur yourself. So super excited to have you with us. But with no further ado, maybe you can start off with just tell us a bit about yourself and your background.
Nice to be here. So my name is Eric Botéus. I spent the last 10 years working within scale-ups. I started off working with brands such as Happy Socks and Urban Ears early days, and then moved on to Uber when it was just a few cities in the world, working with marketing and demand and growth, and worked there for 6 years until they went IPO. After that, I spent a few months in Africa working with startups in Tanzania and Johannesburg. Then went on to be GM for a last mile delivery platform. And lately I'm started my own venture, which is indoor plants on demand called Lala Plants. And beside that, I have a business called 21 Venture, which basically helps scale ups and startups with marketing and how they should grow in a smart way. As most startup, you can't afford to buy in a lot of information on like who is your customer, etc. You need to go like look at the data you have basically, and then do some you know some guessing, the best guesses. But I think a good thing from Lala Plants, my last startup, was that when we launched it was like, how can we figure out who our customers is? And basically me and my old colleague then at Uber, I mean, we sit with the first 1,000 customers. We called every one of them and asked them, about our service, how they liked it, what we can do better, how they lived, everything. So we basically got a really scrappy list. It took us like 2 weeks to do. But I think that's, maybe that's symbolic for how we always did at Uber. Like, go down to the central station, talk to the taxi drivers. Like, I think that sometimes people miss out is that like, oh, we can't do research, but you can always like pick up the phone. You can, prioritize to talk with your customers and so we always had for us 3 different phases. So and I think, I mean, you can apply it. I apply it today still as well. I mean, in the first phase, when you're a new company or you launch a new market, whatever it can be, like it's all about getting people to try the product. Like I see a lot of brands sometimes go out and they try to, be like Nike, basically do like some abstract, like let's do it campaign. And it's, nobody knows the brand. Nobody's tested it out. It's just like throwing away money because the market isn't ready for it. So the first step is just like promo codes, try the product, working with, maybe discounts so it can be to get these people to try it. Like that's the only thing you should do, and get a person that has a high level of trust. Because what you don't have when you're new in a country or new price, you don't have trust. Customer don't trust you, they don't know you. So either you get someone else, a company or a person, to introduce you to the market, or you become very effective of getting people to try it, or you work with both. And then in the second step, then it's time to like introduce people if you have other offering or other products. For example, you can ride daytime with Uber. Did you know that? Or at Lala Plants, maybe it's like, yeah, did you know you also can buy seats, or you can buy pots or other products? Like then in the second stage, people are ready for you to introduce them to other products or other offerings that you have. But don't do that in the first step, like focus on your core product. And then in the third step, then it's time to let them know a bit more about who you are, what you stand for, and introduce them to the more like vision, mission, and like your personality, like more branding in that stage. I think that's do it in the right stages. Because I mean, like Coca-Cola, how they you buy one ad, they have one line, or Nike, it's because they are in the third they're in the third step and they've been there for a long time. They don't need to push anything. But you wouldn't say like see new brands doing the same thing, because that would be really bad decision for them if they want to grow. We just did, it's just the volume of stuff you do, not like how good the ideas are. So basically on a weekly basis, to be super specific, everybody in the team had a promo goal. So everybody had to bring in a specific amount of new riders to that every week, and it doesn't matter how you fix it. If it's your grandma, if you go into a Zelda group on Facebook and post it there, just like come up with ideas, is get your target. So it's very like nitty gritty. And then it was, of course, we worked a lot with our give one get one. So when you tried our product, you could also give away a code to your friend that gets a free trip, and then you get a free trip. So that was like how we built, with the code, the scaling. But then it was in the beginning, it was super much partnership with nightclubs, very non-scalable things actually, because we couldn't afford to be all over cities with billboards, etc. And then I think what really like changed it for us was that, I mean, we focused a lot on this nightclub target group, and I mean, it was maybe 2013, 2014. We saw that when there was festivals in the city, we had too much people that want to ride with Uber, and it was a problem for our taxi drivers. And it's a great example from people who just have fun and they want to go out party afterwards. They just want to get a nice, exciting trip with some nice music in the car, like have a good time. So we did a partnership with Summerburst in Stockholm, and then we said to them, we can basically like fix your whole logistic, situation here with our tech. But also, give away free Uber trips to these riders, because again, we know they will take 2 more trips during that first weekend where we get the money back. So we basically, in one way, lend the money out and then we'll get it back. And then we said, like, how can we also like create something exciting together with them? And then we launched Uber helicopters on demand, so people could basically book a helicopter to Summerburst even though you didn't have any money. Like you had you're a student, like how cool to get your helicopter pick you up at your house, riding with your 2-3 friends to Summerburst. And I think that's how when we did that and that worked, we found our Red Bull. So the Uber way of doing marketing then after that was to give people things they can't get for money on the platform, excites them. We had like Batmobile on demand on the platform when Batman launched a new movie, or we had ice creams or Christmas trees or helicopters or tuk-tuks, you name it. Like we just excited people every week with super fun ways of getting from point A to point B. And that's when we saw it took off. Then we had like 10,000 people trying to book this helicopter. There were only like 10 of them that could do it. But then when they had the app, they were like went out partying. They were, I used to have this app, and I have like 100 SEK for free. Let's book. And then they were hooked. And then we just focus on that 10,000, just get them to invite more friends, and then so that's how we. That was our Red Bull, just like getting people exciting in the platform. Like in the beginning, it was a lot of hassle. I mean, and that I think, like when we launched Uber in Stockholm, we did super simple activations like ice cream on demand. It was like, and we all stand out Central Station, getting people to try it. It's like super non-scalable. But I mean, if every person every day could get 20 new customers and you're 5-6 people, for us in the beginning it was magic because we only had 5 drivers. So I mean, we also could talk to them and get them excited. So I think that people lose that in the beginning sometimes, that they don't pick up the phone or don't like hustle in the new first customers. You want to be like scalable from the beginning. But I mean, in the beginning was a lot like that, and then of course performance was, I mean, huge for us. But it's also a different time. But I mean, that was the big engine. that drove our growth. But then we topped that with partnerships was our second strategy, which was basically what I said, like partner with Volvo, partner with SF Cinema, because people are going to go 5% will take a taxi to cinema. How do we get that into the ticket system so people get that right away? So we just did partnerships on scale. We had a completely different email strategy than all other companies. We only sent one email a month. And today when I look at my inbox, like before a meeting, it was like I had so many emails from companies every week, like every day with like 10%. And we did the opposite. We sent one email a month. If you did more than that, you can basically like get in big trouble. But that email should be so exciting with such a fantastic offer. So you will always open it. And we had such a high frequency of opening rates, and we really invested so much time in the monthly email. So that would be like something just fantastic, like something you get, a really nice email. So instead of sending every week with like not that high level of stuff, we sent one, but that one converted so much every time. We could always depend on people opening this email, so that's also interesting, because I see today people do it in more volume, but I still believe to do it less, but do it good. No, but you need to always send. If you have e-commerce, you always need to send, of course, when they buy something or abandon cart, it's super important. But I think a lot of people, in the beginning, maybe you are only 2, 3, 4, 5 people, you have limited time is your like biggest like resources, time and money. And then it's more like, oh, we need to get this weekly email out this week. What should we do? And then you put in 30 minutes into it, put up a discount. And of course, since you're putting that little time into the email, it's not going to be super good, and the customer they will get as excited as you are around sending that email, basically. And then it's just like, why do you do it? Then it's like no point of sending, instead of like investing more time sending. If you don't have the time, send one every third week that is like an update that is very good, that you like when you send it out. Because I think I see it all the time. People is like, I need to do my weekly email, and they send it out, and it's just they don't like it, so the customer won't like it. So the opening rate's going down, because the customer know that every time I get email from this company, it is shit, so I will not open it. It's so hard. And that's also interesting. I know how you feel, but today, like a few years ago, so like if you look at channels, it was so easy to look at Facebook, the channel, and the return from investment of that, and how it worked. Today it's so complex. It's so hard to know how the different channels work, and they all going together. It's like we never had as much data, but it's never been harder for a marketing department to know which channel works. Like it's never been as hard. So I really feel bad for all the marketeers out there in this time where they're maybe CEO is demanding a clear answer, and it's so hard to to know. But you always need to put up some sort of target, right, for what you would like to do, and then try it small scale. I think for me, 2 weeks, if I do ads, for example, is quite good. 2 weeks for ads is my benchmark to know if it's work or not. But I also always try in very small scale. I spend very little money on everything, and try a lot of different things till I see something that actually works, and then I double down on it. I would never, as some company do, put up a very high performance budget every month and then sort of spend a lot of money and test at the same time. I think it's a very bad idea that I see a lot of agencies that push their clients to do, because it's very good profits for them. But I would say try everything at small scale. Today with companies I work with, if you have a performance budget, for example, you launch a new product, what is very beneficial for the agencies is that you put 80% of that budget into content and then 20% into performance, which is the tools you have to promote this content. And that I think is good for people to know, that I think that you always should think 80%, 20% on the actual content and 80% on actually getting that content out, which could be performance or something else. We always put on like some promotion or something together with the influencer to get then we can see clear sales if they have actually sold through their code, which is like baseline. But then it's also about it can also be that they generate traffic. So if we go out with the influencer partnership and you see that 10 people bought your shampoo product through her code or his code, but then you see increase in website traffic during those hours, then that's demand. That's like not conversion, it's demand. So I can see that she generated, 2,000 visitors to the site. So she generated a demand of 2,000 and a conversion of the amount of people that bought the product. That for me is a sense to see, okay, she generated this demand. Maybe was we didn't sell as much. Is that on her or is it our problem? Because as I said, the copy is not good enough. It was the wrong influencer we went out to promote with, because that target group doesn't, our product is not sticky to them. They don't like it, the offering. Okay, we move on to the next one. And honestly, my answer to this is that there is no right and wrong. Like, it's so interesting because I work with one company that has spent 80% of the budget on brand. They haven't grown as much, but they built a very sticky, base of clients because they invested so much into the soft values and the brand. So now when it's time to grow, we have a fantastic platform. So that's the benefit of that. But then it's also, you maybe do it sometimes at a very high level. The downside is maybe growth. But then you have companies that work a lot with, the other way around, that hasn't built the stickiness. They don't have these loyal customers. They don't have, built in the vision into the customers, the brand, etc. And then you need to add that. It's much harder to do it afterwards. So some companies, like you've been to, and me, like some CEOs, that is where like we need to build this brand from the beginning, invest a lot of time into it. Some others is more functional driven, like usually in the tech industry. Coca-Cola is a great example, and companies like Spotify, for example, where the hero is like engineers, and Coca-Cola, you can't be the CEO if you're not a marketeer. So it's very built into marketing, and this is very built into that. So I think it's like no right or wrong, but I think in the beginning it makes sense to invest some money into the brand in terms of PR, getting people excited. And of course, if you're a product company like selling shoes, etc., it's super important. The design, the soft value. So I think it's not a good answer, but it's you see people doing it so like differently, and it's both can work. But a great example, actually, I need to tell you on this one is that so at Uber, for example, had water bottles in the cars in the first 2-3 years. And we built a lot of branding around this because for people, this was service that we had that, not the app. It was like the water bottles was top one, then it was the app, then it was like clean cars, etc., which is crazy. But then we didn't have the data because we didn't have the money. So what we said was that you always do in the scaling process, like this is not scalable, let's take this away. So we took away all the water bottles, and then in year 5, we had the money to spend on soft values, to look at how people feel around the brand, everything. And then when we had the money to actually look into this and get the data, we saw that the water bottles was the number one reason why our service level had gone down, but we couldn't measure it before. I think that's a great like, and then we went back to all the operational, team and said like, we can't see it in the behavior data, it costs a lot of money, but actually this is the number one thing that gets people sticky to the product. And then we added it again. And I think to have that in mind is a good learning, that the leadership is like, even though we don't see it now, it's like a long-term investment to work with your brand.